Hey, everybody! Welcome to Let's Talk About Things and Stuff, where we talk about things and also stuff. I'm your friendly neighborhood youth guy, Matt Parker, and this is my good friend, Katelyn.
Hey.
How you doing today, Katelyn?
I'm alright.
Yeah? Did you work today?
No, but I've been busy with the things that I need to do when I'm off.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like what?
I was just waiting for that question. So.
Do you have to get your car detailed? Oh, you detail cars. Are you still doing that?
Occasionally. I mean, it's harder now that I'm full-time.
Yeah.
But I need to detail my car. It needs it, but I haven't had the time to.
Physician, heal yourself.
And then, but I went and did little grocery shopping because I've started meal prepping.
Mm-hmm.
And I
nice.
Really love it now. And because I found recipes that are like pasta and everything that are like high in protein and like good for you and all that. So I did that. And then I've got some other side work to do. And then the gym, even though I go to the gym every day. But
yeah, very cool. Very cool. I've just been here most of the day.
I mean, it is your job, and you are on the job today.
I did take a lunch, so I wasn't here during that time. Sometimes I don't take a lunch. Sometimes I do. Depends on what needs to be done, or how I'm feeling that particular day.
Okay. I'm required to take a lunch at work, so...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, they don't really...
nitpick when you go or take a lunch?
They don't monitor that here, or for ministry in general. In fact, it's pretty common for ministers to spend 80 or 90 hours a week, doing work, whether in the office or at the house or somewhere in between, just because that's what it takes to do ministry. I haven't hit that level here, but there are weeks when it's pretty intense, and there are weeks when it's not intense at all. When it's not intense at all, I usually take a lunch. Mm-hmm. When it's pretty intense, I'm waiting till I get home to eat. It's probably not the healthiest.
It's definitely not. No.
I have protein shakes in my desk or by my desk, in those moments that I can fuel up.
And a giant bag of pancake mix.
I also have a giant bag of pancake mix and syrup, just for, if the feeling strikes. Mm-hmm. That was actually left over from the weekend, like 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Pancake mix doesn't go bad, really, until the weevils set in. I'm not sure if the weevils are in there yet. I opened a pasta box a few days ago, and it was, it might have come here from Arkadelphia 4 years ago. But the weevils had been in the box.
They had set in?
They had set in, and they had eaten some of the pasta and left their progeny to procreate and continue eating. And so that box went right out the door. Okay. Yeah. But we'll probably have pancakes in November again. And so it's May now, so, what's another 6 months or so. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whatever. Okay. Well, cool. All right. Well, we have a lot of good things to talk about today. Talking some politics. But first, let's talk about what we've been consuming in the cultural arena. Katelyn, what you got?
I got to go to the NF concert this last Friday.
Love NF.
Mm-hmm. And I don't have a wide range of concert experience.
Okay.
And I was talking with a friend, and I was like, oh, my main concerts I've been to were either, like, I went to a Two Cellos concert, or a Trans-Siberian Orchestra concert.
Those are great. Those are fun.
Then I've also been to symphony concerts, but I hadn't gone to one that was more of a completely different genre than that. Yeah. So I didn't know what to expect, but I loved it. Yeah.
Did you stand up and sing along? Do you really sing at an NF? You don't really sing at an NF concert.
There's some singing, but it is mostly not singing.
Mostly rapping and shouting.
Yes.
NF shouts some in his
He does.
music in his
But no, I did not stand.
compositions?
I was in the upper level, and most people around me were sitting, so I felt it was appropriate to stay sitting with them. So.
I saw Lecrae at the same place you did, at the T-Mobile Center.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Lecrae back in January, February, I forget when it was. And it was standing up the entire time.
Yeah.
It was like I know some of the lyrics, but man, so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Like some NF.
Yeah. It was really funny because I ended up taking my dad with me, who
he's a country music guy, right?
We
talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Classic country,
yeah,
all the way.
Yeah.
Doesn't like most of the new country music, so
he's my kind of guy.
So therefore, had to tell him who NF was before we left, and then also prepare him for what it is.
How did he do?
He did. I mean, I would assume he did fine because he just sat there the whole time.
Did you talk about it after? Did he say how he enjoyed it?
He liked it. I don't think. I mean, it's not like he's going to start listening to NF or any of that genre.
Right.
But I think he enjoyed it, as in like it could have been worse, kind of thing.
Careful, it's a slippery slope from NF to Eminem. That's a slippery slope. Okay, well that's good. I have been doing. Well, I've been watching some streaming some shows. Mm-hmm. One of which was The Middle. It started in the mid 2000s, before 2010. I think the first season is like 2008 or 9, somewhere around there. And it's about a Midwestern Illinois, Indiana kind of deal. That's why it's called The Middle, by the way. Middle of the country, what people call flyover territory. Mm-hmm. And it's about a family just trying to make it with teenagers, and there's this one kid. His name is Brick. He's like 3rd grade, I think, and he's got this tick where he'll whisper to himself, like he'll say a sentence and then go sentence, and it is like the weirdest, funniest thing that I've ever seen. And his you can always tell when he's lying because he'll say. I don't know. I was abducted by aliens and whatever, and then he'll go, "I'm lying," and so every time he tells a lie, you can tell because he goes, "I'm lying." Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a quirky kid, super smart in some ways and not really smart in others.
Yeah,
it's a good show. It's very, very real. And
I remember seeing it on around like. When it was on, like, most frequently on TV.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever sat down and watched any episodes, but I remember it being on other channels.
Okay, so 2 actors that I really enjoy, Patricia Heaton from Everybody Loves Raymond, and Neil Flynn, who was janitor in Scrubs. If you've ever seen Scrubs.
Nope.
He's janitor. He's like the antagonist for the main character, for JD. Who's the main character of Scrubs, and he's hilarious and very just dry, straightforward kind of guy, and it works. But the other thing that I've been streaming, Misha and I watched Unfrosted, a movie by Jerry Seinfeld. It came out. I don't know exactly when it came out, but it's pretty new, and it stars like everybody in the world, like huge stars. Jim Gaffigan. Hugh Grant with his shirt off storming the Kellogg's cereal company with his shirt off and horned hat in a parody of the January 6th, the storming of the Capitol thing. Mm-hmm. They kind of have this like parody of that, like a satire of all that stuff that happened. And there's just a ton of really, really hilarious stuff. And it's funny until it's not, and then it's funny again, and then it's not. But there's just so many celebrities, and I mean, and it's all about the beginning of the Pop-Tart. It's a parody. It's like a humorous treatment of the competition to put the Pop-Tart on the market, and. it's hilarious and it's dumb and it's not funny at all, and then
But it's also funny.
but it's also very funny. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, I'd give it like 1.5 thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, you got to take it for what it is and not try to take it more seriously than what it's intended to be. If you do that, then it loses all humor at all. Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right. So we've had a lot going on this week in our community and at church. So this week we dedicated 8 families in our church, and it was really a cool, meaningful time. Do you remember like doing dedication when you were a kid? Were you old enough to realize what was going on then?
I had an idea of what it was. I mean, I could probably make a guess, but I never fully understood and I never asked about it. I just knew it was something that was done in the church occasionally.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But you get it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, this is something that we do because we're Christian and we want to do this. But I'm not sure a lot of people really understand what's going on there. And it's kind of an interesting thing to talk to people about it. Like, some people are like, this is how we become Christian. This is how we become a member of the church, going after like in some high church models, you like do your baby sprinkling and it's their dedication and their baptism, their infant baptism kind of thing. And that's like their entry into the church, and that's how you pass membership in the church on from parents to kids. That's not really our take on the thing. Like we want to be an intergenerational kind of family, and so we dedicate families who want to make a commitment to being a family that that follows the Lord together, right? And so, like, it's the parents saying, we're making a covenant to raise our kids in the fear and admonition of the Lord, and the church saying, we are going to support you as much as we possibly can in that. So it used to be, like, the reason we do it on Mother's Day, it used to be like, if you had a baby, that's your baby's first kind of, like, really thing. We've been moving away from that. One, because not all families are the same, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Mother's Day can be kind of a painful moment, and it can feel like we're rubbing it in, like if a mom's struggling to have kids and really wants kids and keeps having miscarriages, or if there's been some tragedy in a family's life, or if there's like been strife between mother and kid, and so Mother's Day is not as meaningful for everyone in the room. And so we don't want to be like, well, here's a perfect family and your family's screwed up. And that's kind of the message that people get. And we don't want to beat people over the head with it. So instead of doing that, we're moving towards a family dedication thing, probably still on Mother's Day because it makes sense, to do it at that time. But it's less of a here's the perfect family doing it exactly right kind of thing, and more of a, hey, we're all imperfect, we're the family of God together, and we're going to support each other in this journey of raising kids. And so that's what we're doing. I hope it makes sense to people. And one of the great things about the way we're doing this now is that I could do this. I've been in ministry for 25 years, but if my family is like kind of experiencing some heartache or some, we've had a dry season in our family or something like that, I can come back with my family and say, you know what, we're renewing our commitment. We're this is a signpost for my family. From now on, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord, kind of thing. And so that's one of the things I like about it. And so, maybe it's meaningful for some people, might not be meaningful for everyone, but I think it's a good thing for us as a church to do, right? So,
Right.
Yeah. There's something else we started doing this week.
What's that?
We started talking about politics in our community groups in student ministry.
Okay.
Because it's an election year.
It is.
Are you excited about the election?
I don't really pay all that close attention to politics and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I care for who is elected and everything, but I'm not saying I'm the right person to go asking for the best opinion on who is the right candidate or whatever.
Where do you get your news, your political news?
I don't know if I want to admit this.
It's TikTok, isn't it?
Maybe.
It's TikTok. I mean, no, that's like a very large percent, like 70-something%.
So of
people your age.
And I don't even get like the full like political news and everything on like what I see on my TikTok. I'll see people of certain parties saying this and all this.
Yeah.
But not necessarily calling out a candidate or calling out another.
Right.
But there's been political related videos on my TikTok.
Okay, so on TikTok, which is more important to you, the political discussion or the Drake, Kendrick, Lamar battle that happened a couple of weeks ago?
I didn't know that was a thing.
You didn't know that was a thing? I thought that was everywhere. It might have been Instagram, though. But you're on Instagram.
I mean, I remember seeing things mentioned about Drake, but I didn't look too deeply into it because I didn't really care.
Yeah.
So.
Well, apparently there has been some beef going with Kendrick Lamar and Drake, and I only know this because I hang out with teenagers and I have teenagers in my house. Because I don't really know or care too much about it either. So I went to kind of investigate it a little bit, and I can't. my Spotify won't let me listen to they're dropping tracks like at each other, like it's like a real rap battle kind of thing where they're dropping tracks like in response to each other, and and I can't listen to them because they're explicit, and so yeah. So that's fun.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, so in our community groups, kind of where we were going with our conversation this week was that we're inhabitants of one kingdom. That's the kingdom of the world. That's where in our human political situation, we're here, but we're actually citizens of the kingdom of God, right? So in some church circles, that we think in some church circles they think of our political engagement as we're like the Israelites entering the promised land and we're conquerors, like we're going to retake the legislature for God kind of thing. We're going to get prayer back in schools. We're going to do all of these things that are a conquering mindset. And I'm fine with prayer in schools and all that stuff. Don't hear me wrong on that. But I think that the message of Scripture is more on the side of we're like exiles in Babylon, right? So we're citizens. Like the analogy would be the Israelites in Babylon, not conquering. They were stuck there, right? And so they had to do the best with what they had and use whatever influence they could gain, which Daniel and his 3 friends, and there was some political influence there, but that wasn't the primary goal. The primary goal was to get back to their land. And so that's kind of the tension that I'd like to create in our group is we're not supposed to aim for political power. That's not the goal. Our goal is to use whatever influence that we have available to us to leverage that for the kingdom of God, right? So like we're exiles in Babylon more than conquerors of the promised land, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, do you think Christians should care about politics?
I mean, I would imagine yes, because it is the world you're currently living in.
Yeah.
And you want the best for you and your family.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it's going to be a different approach that we have than every other person in the world.
Yeah.
Or at least in the country. So, because not everyone is voting, but...
Right. Yeah. Do you care about politics? Like, you admitted to not really being super in the know or educated about it, but what...
I mean...
Like, do you care? Super care, anyway?
In this current moment, no. I don't really care, but, I mean, I know it would be better if I inserted myself into learning all the things and all that before because I can't go around, giving my opinion on either candidate or situation or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, no, I don't really care at this current moment.
Well, it is, what is it? It's end of May, or middle of May,
mm-hmm.
and it's the second Tuesday in November, I think, is Election Day. So, what is that, 6 months?
Yeah.
5 months, something like that. So, I mean, there's a lot. You're going to see a lot of yard signs and a lot of political ads.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten so many phone calls already, like just from the primaries, the Republican and Democratic primaries in our state.
Mm-hmm.
People just cold calling me, asking me my opinion and stuff like that. It's just robocalls. And
one call I keep getting is for AmeriPro Roofing. They want to do
roofing, yes.
Roofing, siding, and like.
And we've had so many storms after every storm system that we have.
But I'm not a homeowner, so I don't know why I'm getting. Like they thought I would be a good candidate to call several times a week. So
maybe your dad's putting your number on
on
his primary contacts.
Well, we even had our roof done like 3 years ago, so it shouldn't need it.
Right.
And my dad does a lot of our around the house work anyway, so. Yeah. But the fact that I keep getting these calls thinking I'm a homeowner.
That's funny.
In any, like, sort of way.
Mm-hmm. So what's the most annoying thing about politics for you?
I think it's of how people take their opinions and then twist them on others, and they can't respectfully let others have their own opinion.
Ooh.
Because everyone has their own opinion. They have their own upbringing. They have their own experiences. And so, therefore, you're going to have your opinion for whatever reason. And you're going to want to maybe choose this candidate or choose whatever. Mm-hmm. But doesn't mean you should go shutting down someone else because they chose something opposite of you or different of you, because they could have had different experiences and other things happen in their life that led them to that place, instead of just going with what you think because you are, it's like as if you're all-knowing,
right?
When no one is all-knowing.
Yeah.
And so,
do you get the feeling that most people your age feel similarly to you, or do you feel like there's this generational push towards political activism?
I would definitely say there's more of a push of political activism, because you've asked questions similar to that before, and there's a handful of people I graduated high school with that I immediately picture when thinking about how they take political movements and their political stance, and they are more what's the word? They're more like political activists than I am, and they are also aligning with a different party than I would typically find myself aligning with.
Sure.
So,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's a super fraught time in our American political system, and there's just a lot of contention, a lot of conversation about it. And my goal with our group is to be able to have a conversation with somebody who disagrees with me, and recognize that this is one. An image bearer, this is a child of God that I need to treat with dignity and respect. 2, understand that no political perspective, no politician, no political party is going to be the solution to all human ills. They all have their focuses, their things that they might do well, and some things that they do that I think probably would go against what God would have them do. Every single politician, every single party, all of them. Mm-hmm. And so no politician is going to be like God's man
right.
or woman for setting us free from the effects of sin. Only Jesus can do that. And so anytime we treat a politician or a party like we would treat Jesus, we've got something mixed up. Mm-hmm. And also, I think that we need to have this openness of conversation by saying things like, I could be wrong. I don't know everything about this. Here's what I think. But, I think those words could go a long way to opening up some communication. Mm-hmm. And plus, there's a lot of misunderstanding in how our American political system is supposed to work that I think that people get wrong all over the place. And, I could be wrong in some things, but I don't think I'm wrong about this. Mm-hmm. And so, anyway, maybe I'm prideful in that way, shutting down conversation.
There's one, so your mention of having, being able to have a conversation with someone who you have different opinions on and disagree with. Mm-hmm. There's one influencer, well, I wouldn't call him an influencer. He doesn't want to be defined as an influencer, but I see him all the time on my social media. Uh-huh. He goes around and, sets up, a table at college campuses and just, has these hard conversations and talks with college students who are very opposing opinions than him. Yeah. And they sometimes come to verbally attack him when he's and one of the things he says often, which is the point I'm making, is violence and wars start when people stop talking. Because if you can just talk it through and work through differences with that conversation, imagine how different things could be instead of putting in violence and wars or whatever it may be to solve these issues instead. Yeah. So.
I agree. I'm a bit of a pacifist myself, and always have been. I'm very conflict averse, mm-hmm. and so I would rather talk through an issue and come to a compromise than to have my way, all the time. Which makes it a little funny that I wanted to be in the military. I wanted to be special forces going in, tip of the spear type of Navy uh-huh. SEALs or whatever. Yeah. Makes me laugh now that I was so delusional.
I've been a kind of person I'm all talk and no, because I'll be tough and intense with my words as sometimes I feel the need to be. Yeah. But I will never act upon it because I don't like confrontation, and confrontation is no matter what kind of confrontation, if it's verbal or physical. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this. We're going to keep it civil, though, so any super confrontational or rude comments will be deleted. But we'd love to hear your thoughts on should Christians care about politics, and also I'd love to hear where you get your news, your political input, your understanding of politics in general. I kind of feel it's probably TikTok or Instagram, but if you're over 35, you're probably getting it from Facebook. But anyway, so what a great conversation. Thanks for joining us for Let's Talk About Things and Stuff, where we talk about things and also stuff. We'll see you again next time.